They try to silence the truth we shout, but we're still here, we're still calling out. Corruption hides behind a badge of name. We light the fire, expose the shame. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. The stories echo, the pain runs deep. For stolen lives we can't just weep. Elected power but their hearts are cold. We'll bring the truth, let it be told. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight. The heavy wounds, undo the harm. Calling out corruption, we'll stand tall. For justice and truth, we'll risk it all. My life mattered is the cry we sing. Together we rise, let freedom ring.
Hi, social change warriors. Hey, justice seekers. Welcome back to Thursday night Calling Out Corruption. I'm Catherine Page, your founder of the movement Social Change Warriors, and I get fortunate enough to be your host on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And recently we added Friday, which is our Friday Night Lies, where a group of us are going over the Karen Reed trial due to the death of John O'Keefe. And we're taking a look at the witnesses, and we're trying to decide if they told the truth, if they were evasive, or if there were some lies sprinkled in with some truth, or there was all lies. So we've been going over the different witnesses. We've had Caitlin McLaughlin on with us, and then we had Chris Albert, and now tomorrow night we'll have Julie Albert. So if you are interested in that case and that trial, we hope you'll join us on Friday night for Friday Night Lies. But tonight we are back with our beautiful and lovely school teacher from Philadelphia area, Ellen Greenberg, originally from New York City. And we have been covering her case since August, her ongoing case. Ellen's life was taken in 2011. So this case has been stalled, basically not a case. If you watched our first episode back in November, and then we had our second episode last week, her death was ruled an unaliving, that they said she did that to herself, that she stabbed herself 20 times. So if you're interested in watching our first episode, it's in our library. We go over the case generally, very loosely. Last week, we went over it quite in depth, and we made it about halfway through. So tonight, we're going to pick up in the other half. Hi, Paula. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here tonight. It's a small group, it looks like, tonight. Thursday, lot of tragedy, and I'll get to that in a minute. So welcome, Paula. Great to see you. So let me a little bit about myself. I was a law enforcement officer in Madison, Wisconsin, for the University of Wisconsin Police Department, and I was injured in the line of duty. I injured my neck in an arrest of a suspect, so I ended up having surgery about a year later after being on light duty and doing other positions within the department, and then decided to have surgery. And it was pretty successful in the beginning. I went back on duty and everything was great for a while, and then 4 or 5 years later, I don't remember the exact count anymore. It's been a while. Things didn't go well for my neck. So I ended up having to step down from policing and transfer to what was called the safety department. And I worked in environmental health and safety for quite a few years before I was then on a duty disability. So that's my past. I also have a master's degree in social work, and I've done quite a bit with my master's degree in social work the last 5 years, and started Social Change Warriors actually 5 years ago. So I'm really happy to try live streaming. It's new to me. Hi, Sherry D. I have never been a live streamer before. This is pre-recorded public speaking, but never live streaming. So it's been quite the journey, quite the adjustment period. But I'm really enjoying. I have met so many interesting people, so many amazing people that care about justice, that care about victims whose crimes have never been solved. And I am amazed at that because, guys, we have busy lives. Whether you're married or single, you have kids or you don't have kids, but just about everybody has a job. And it's a lot just to do life and to have hobbies and to be happy. So to take the time out of your busy schedule to care about somebody who doesn't have justice and stand with their families, that takes a lot. So the people I have met on this journey since August have done nothing but impressed me. I've met so many amazing people. Some have come and gone because of different personalities, different ideas, but I've been pleased and honored to know everyone that I've met and have gone down the road and on their separate way. And all of you that come to the live streams every Wednesday and Thursday and now Friday means a lot to me because it's great to have interaction in a chat box. I did a lot of pre-recordeds for the past 5 years, and those can get a little lonely, but there's a benefit to them because you're not live and you can stop yourself and say, I shouldn't have said that. And you can hit the rewind and you can say, I'd taken that out, but not with the live stream. There's times when I say things and I watch myself back and I'm like, no, I probably shouldn't have said that. Maybe I got a little too carried away. I was talking too fast. It's very hard. It's very hard to do this. So I'm really honored to be doing it. I'm honored to know you. Thank you, everybody that comes live. Thank you, replay. You've been wonderful. I've been really pleased with how many are watching on the replay and standing for our victims of crimes and their families and helping me share that out on social media, because that's what we've got, right? We have to share it out. We have to get people aware, like what they've done in Canton, Massachusetts. We talked about this last night. If you came to the live, we were honoring the life of John O'Keefe and Karen Reed's life, that's been completely upended because most of us believe she was falsely accused of a crime that she did not commit. So the real perpetrator or perpetrators are still out there living their lives. I don't know how comfortably they're living their lives because all of the victims and families that we're working with right now, we're working with 3 families where we're in constant contact with their families. I'm every day on the phone. Then we're 4 other families that we haven't made contact with yet, but we're standing for them. Sandra Birchmore, we're standing for Suzanne Morphew. I'm trying to make contact with someone in her family, a brother or a sister. We're standing for Suzanne, I'm going to forget her name because I have not covered her yet. The woman that went missing in Texas, she's a realtor, and they've arrested her husband. They believe they have enough evidence. So we're standing for her, but we don't know her family yet. But we're trying to get there so that everybody we're standing for, we have a contact with their family. I heard from Ellen Greenberg's parents last week. I missed an opportunity to conference call with them. I'm disappointed in that. I missed it. So, but hopefully next week. So I was with Michelle today, again, texting. I have a little update at the end for you on Michelle's case with missing, where is Sarah Ebersol? And then last night, Kara was on with us, giving us her not so great update, which made me sad today that it's such pulling teeth to try to get things out of these county sheriff's departments here in Florida. It really is difficult. I understand their position at times, but I also think more empathy for the families is really, really needed. So great to see you, Sherry D. Thanks for coming back. Surprise stream for me. A little tired tonight. Yeah, I didn't know I was going to go tonight, to be honest with you, after the tragedy last night. And thank you to whoever put that in the chat last night. But when I saw plane crash, my spine got tingles because I fly a lot. I go back and forth to Wisconsin all the time, like every 6-7 weeks, because I want to see my mom and my sister and my younger son. So I'm constantly going back and forth because I'm retired and I can bring this hefty little laptop with me, and I can do that. So I have a place to stay when I'm in Madison, and then I have my home here with my older son. So I'm all the time in an airplane. And when someone put that up in the chat last night, Paul and Sherry D, my spine kind of thought, okay, I don't know if I should put that up. If no one else knows, everybody's going to get upset and sad. So I almost pushed this to next week because I was feeling so distraught today. And I'll tell you a little bit extra why here in about 2 seconds. So yes, Sherry D, I wasn't sure I was going to live tonight, but I decided I want to get Ellen on the record so we can get some more replay on Ellen. And we're waiting for the judge to make that decision. That should be coming any time now. So we'll definitely go live when the judge tells us if he's going to allow this to go forward and possibly be investigated as a homicide, because right now it is still ruled an unaliving. So feel free to look in our library. Those of you on the replay, go find Ellen Greenberg. It was in November when we first gave you a background of her. Then we did a more deep dive last week. We listened to the 911 call, and we did a lot. So I'm going to go through what we did last week very quickly, just so Sherry and Paula can kind of refresh, but then we're going to go in because I have some videos and some news clips tonight, and I want to get to all that. So let me bring up my trusty deck. As you all know, because I taught classes for a while at USC and I've been a coach, I love my slide decks. They actually keep me from having panic attacks, because sometimes when I'm up here, I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? So the deck helps me stay on time, keeps me from suffering a panic attack. And then I can show you photos and show you evidence because I like to do that. So I will let me quickly adjust the slide deck from the song that we were singing. Hang on a second. Yeah, let me go back to the beginning here. I use some of the slides when the music is playing to show you pictures of Ellen. So what I want to talk to you about first is this is a park in my hometown in Madison, Wisconsin. This is Tenney Park. And this is where I learned how to figure skate. My mom was kind of a figure skater. She never competed, but she was quite good at it. She had a skating skirt and a sweater. I remember when she first showed them to me when I was old enough to know what she was showing me. And this is where she taught me how to skate. It's this beautiful park right off of Lake Mendota in Wisconsin, in Madison. It's not too far from the Capitol. I've showed you pictures of our beautiful Madison, Wisconsin Capitol before. This isn't more than probably 1.5 miles, 2 miles max to the Capitol. And this is where we would hang out in the summer. There's a soccer field over to the left. The lake is on the other side of the bridge, about like 1/4 mile. And across the street is where the lake is. And there's a boat landing there. And one of my all-time favorite memories of Tenney Park is just being there with my parents and learning how to ice skate with my sister. And then, believe it or not, I had my first kiss right here. You can't see it. I'm pointing at the pointer, but right back by that tree, 8th grade. So Tenney Park has a lot of memories for me. And my parents actually met at this park ice skating. So it's very sentimental to me. And this is Lake Mendota. This is the sun setting over the lake and the boat launch. And this is where I learned to skate. This is Tenney Park. And where these kids are playing ice hockey or whatever they're doing there, that's where I broke my leg. So I was playing hockey with my sons with figure skates on, and I thought I was all that in a bag of chips, but I wasn't. And I took a nice big header and I lit my leg, my right leg went behind me, and I broke the fibia. It was the most searing pain, way worse than when I first hurt my neck. My neck hurts now way worse than it ever hurt when I first hurt it. It hurts now because it's chronic pain and inflammation. And as many of you know, arthritis when you get to be my age and you're in 61. But I broke my leg. I had never broken a bone in my body before at that point. I hadn't even broken my finger in volleyball yet. So that was stunning. And it was the week before the police academy. So I am sobbing my eyes out at the doctor's office saying I'm supposed to be going to the police academy, and I'm not, they're going to fire me. They're just going to release me and say, you can't go to the police academy now. You broke your leg. So it was just not good, but I still love Tenney Park. I still have amazing memories. So yesterday, last night when you all told me what happened and we got the news of this plane crash and helicopter crash, and I found out what I found out, which I'm going to share with you in a minute, it just sent me all back to my childhood and ice skating and Tenney Park. And I wanted to put this map up for those of you that haven't seen this. There's no trigger alert. There's nothing scary, just that this is horrible because this is a piece of the plane. But this was the plane's flight path. And I literally just flew in this summer. I went to Vermont to visit an old friend, and I went through Washington, D.C. And I remember as we were making our approach that we came across the Potomac. And I remember thinking, this is amazing. I saw the monument again. I've only been to D.C. once in my whole life, and it was fabulous. There's too much to do there for only 3 days. I wished I would have gone back. I haven't had the opportunity. Beautiful city. This is the flight path of the plane, and it comes in like so, and then it takes this turn and it goes right across the water. And that's how close it was for all those 64 people to make it. That's it. And this is the helicopter coming straight in. So I was very confused by, I don't know about you guys, and I'll check out what you're saying here, but I was very confused by this because how in the world, all the news is say plane hits helicopter. No, helicopter hits plane. I mean, everything I've seen, including video from the airport, is helicopter hits plane. So when you write an article as a journalist, write it correctly. The plane did not hit the helicopter, unless they change their minds and they investigate and they say, and they prove me wrong. But everything I've seen, this is the helicopter. And it flies, and this is the plane just on its normal flight path. What it's supposed to be doing is landing here, and it went right into it. So I found that out. Like, I couldn't sleep last night after our live show. It was a really great show with James Jackson, and just talking about John O'Keefe made me sad, and Karen and everything. And then we talked with Kara and her travesty with her husband and not getting any justice. And I couldn't sleep last night. So I was awake till 3 or 4 a.m. That's when I actually thought I better look at what you guys were telling me in the chat box, and I better find out what happened. So that's when I found out. So it's sad, and my heart goes out to everybody. And then we found out that these young, beautiful skaters, and I, not to take away from everyone else that passed on that plane, the adults, I mean, everybody had lives and families, and I'm heartsick for all of them. But it especially touched me that these young skaters here, the skating team, they're getting ready for Worlds, and they were at some type of a training camp preparing for Worlds, and they've all passed. And then I don't know, I didn't remember this, but I looked it up today because I remember my mom said something to me this morning. In 1961, the U.S. Olympic skating team was killed in a plane crash, and I guess it was in Brussels. So I thought, well, I'll put that picture up in memory of them as well. And of course, about Marshall, the football team, all the players. We Are Marshall. They all passed, and then there was a basketball team too. I mean, there's just rock stars. I mean, there's been so many plane crashes in our life and my life, and it's always so sad. And so I wanted to Sherry D says, I grew up in New York, always a prayer before takeoff, prayer after we land, LaGuardia, or when landing over the water, almost clip land before landing. LSO thought all the people on the freeway. Yeah, I know. I've flown in there too, Sherry D. That is scary. And in Chicago too, you go right over the freeway when I fly in and out of Chicago. That one always. And the other one that's kind of scary too is San Diego. You come in, you fly right over the San Diego, you fly over the ocean and right over the bay, and the airport's literally on this little island practically. So that one, Washington, D.C., New York, yeah, anywhere where there's, you're going the landings are so close to the water, and it just makes me so sad. And yes, it was my fibula. I call it the fibia, but yes, the fibula. It was the fibula. But yeah, it's just terrible. It's just so terrible. So I want to play a little clip for you from Twitter that I saw today. I have to put it up. And Paula, this has been, yeah, love you guys too. And all of you that'll be on replay with us tomorrow. Thank you so much for caring about Ellen and caring about all the lives that we lost yesterday in this horrific event. Let me present here to share my screen. And I just wanted to share this with you. I thought it was so touching. And let's see, that's not the one I want. No, I have to find it. There it is. Okay. This tech stuff, I can usually get to it. All right. So I'm going to start this for you, and let me pop. I'm in the room. It looks like I am, but I can't see you guys anymore. I just see where I am giving you this video. So I'm just going to pop it. Okay, good. You can see it. And let me go back in then and start it. This is two of the children that were on the plane, and they were ice dancing, and they were just children. And this was their last I mean, all of them were young. They were all under 18, I think. And so it just, it's extra heartbreaking. And these two lovelies were going to be probably, have great careers. They probably were going to be Olympians. So I just wanted to play. This was their last performance where they were in Wichita. So that is heartbreaking, breaks my heart and soul. I rest in peace, little angels. Life is so fragile. Yeah, so talented and so young, Sherry D. This one really shook me today. This day has been rough. So many of the victims' families have not been getting, they're just not moving. Their cases aren't moving. We're pretty much stalled in all 7 that we're following. And all the updates I was doing today I was just feeling extra sad today, like really emotional, like, wow, it's a lot. And then this plane crash and this connection I have in my love of skating and always watching the Olympics with my mom, and she's 83. And it's just heartbreaking. My sister was an excellent skater, and we spent a lot of time in ice rinks. And I know how much work these 2 youngsters have put into what they are doing. And to be that good at their age, they have been at the skating rink before school, after school, maybe getting homeschooled. It's just utterly, utterly heartbreaking. So I just wanted to play that, and that rest in peace to all. And so our condolences to all the families and all the friends of these wonderful, wonderful kids. So let's go forward, as hard as it is, because I could talk about that for quite a while. So let me bring the slide deck back up. I'm going to remove this back out. There we go. Okay, that's tough. So thanks for letting me show that. I appreciate it. And this is Nancy Kerrigan, famous Olympic skater, and I was very young, and some of you probably weren't born yet when Nancy and Tanya had their issue, and that was a wild affair that was going on between those 2 ladies. And then the whole bizarre incident with her getting struck with that bat by Tanya's boyfriend, and her claiming she didn't know he was going to do it. And oh my goodness, if you don't know anything about that, you're going to want to look that up. That I can't even tell you right now what Olympics that was. I know I was young, and I just, Nancy Karen isn't that much younger than me, so I don't remember what year that was, but it was pretty horrific. But she is a spokesman and an advocate, and this is those of you that live in Massachusetts, this is your Boston Skating Club, and they lost 2 skaters and a coach. So yeah, their score was amazing, wasn't it? Yeah, Sherry D, we remember Tanya. Yeah, Tanya and I actually have some empathy for Tanya now. I mean, in some ways, I've watched some movies, I've read the book, and I don't know that she knew. I think she was doing a lot of complaining about Nancy, and I think she was being a big fat baby a lot of the time. But Nancy got a lot of attention because, Nancy was tall and slender and beautiful and very wealthy, and Tanya came from a very poor situation, a very tough home life. She had to make her own ice skating costumes. I mean, it was literally a tale of the rich and the, and the famous versus the not even, middle class. Tanya grew up very poor. So I always felt a little sorry for her, that everybody like blamed her for it. I don't think she knew. I really don't. Now, I obviously there might be something out there that I don't know about since that maybe I don't know about because I haven't followed that in years, but it was horrific for Nancy, but I think it ended up to be a tragedy, obviously for both of them. And that creepy, slimy guy, I do believe he went to jail for assault. Yeah, he wasn't a good kid. Yeah, it was definitely in the late 80s because I don't think I was in college anymore. I think Zach was born. I think my son was born. So I think it might have been, whatever Olympics would have happened in the late 80s. Maybe hard to say, right? When I'm trying to think. Oh, well, yeah, 88, maybe 88, because my son was born in 87 and my other son 89. It might have been the 88 Winter Olympics. Yeah, there you go. Thanks. I think you're right. 88. So they had a little presentation today. Everybody that was supposed to be training for the Worlds opted not to train today. They did a moment of silence. So that was in Boston. So let's talk a little bit again about our dear sweet school teacher, Ellen Greenberg, who passed away on January 26th. It was just the anniversary of her passing. That's why we lived about her last week and did such a long show about her. So I'm just going to refresh for those of you that did not come last week and you haven't had a chance to watch. You can go in our library of Social Change Warriors on YouTube and you'll be able to watch the whole episode. I'm just going to go quickly through this to just give you the gist of it in case you're new on the replay. These are Ellen's parents, Josh and Sandy Greenberg. They have filed 2 lawsuits over their daughter's death, and one is pending right now in the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. And they are dear people. They have emailed us several times thanking us for standing for their daughter and for live streaming for her and bringing more attention to her. And we're going to keep right on doing that, Josh and Sandy, until you get justice for your dear daughter. I've followed Ellen's case since the beginning. I had just retired. I had just gone on duty disability, and this case struck me, and I felt from the beginning that something was so wrong, that there was no way that she could have stabbed herself 20 times. And I didn't know a lot about domestic violence then. I hadn't done my master's in social work yet, and I hadn't received my certificate for domestic violence work or done any work at that point in any domestic violence shelters. So I knew very little about it. But what I did know, I knew that this is what this was. It's just so obvious. There's no other suspects. There's no one else that was taunting her or harassing her or stalking her. There's just no way anybody else could have done this. So it's him or it's her. And it's not her. We looked at all the autopsy photos last week. We went over the 911 call. You can go and watch that on our show. But just a lovely person, a lovely school teacher. Everybody cared for her. And it just is completely unfair when somebody else decides that you're not supposed to be here anymore. There's nothing worse than that. And it's a travesty, and it should never happen to anyone. And this was her last text messaging with her mom. And you can watch that last week. So she was a school teacher. She had come home early from school because there was a nor'easter coming in, which is ironic because that's how John O'Keefe died in the snow. Ellen was inside, but it was a raging storm outside, and their anniversaries of their deaths are very close together. So she was teaching that day. They let out school early. By all accounts, she was a fantastic teacher, loved children, was looking forward to becoming a mother, and her mother was looking forward to becoming a grandmother. And that did not happen because on January 26th, she was found in her kitchen up against the cupboards with, at the time, what the EMTs reported as 10 stab wounds. They had not looked at her back or the back of her head. They simply saw her, 10 stab wounds, took the pulse, found out there wasn't any, lifted her, put her on the gurney. It wasn't figured out till the next day when she had her autopsy that there were 10 stab wounds on the back and a huge gash on the back of her head. So it started out messed up from the get-go. And the EMTs told the building manager, who we're going to watch an interview with tonight, that you have a murder on your hands up there. That's exactly what the building manager said. And that's what the EMTs confirmed, that they told him on their way out. They said, you have a murder up there. So it was messed up from the start in so many ways. This is Ellen's fiance, and this is Sam Goldberg. And he and Ellen had recently got engaged. They were planning to be married, I believe, within 6 months, approximately. I don't remember their exact wedding date. They had met through friends and had been dating for roughly 2 to 3 years. And then I guess he was staying with her. This was her apartment, but it sounds like when he traveled a lot, he worked for the Gulf Network and traveled all the time. But so when he was home, it appears that he had moved in and was living with her. We went over this is what we went over last week. You are more than welcome to go and check this out from last Wednesday. And it was just more about his background. So Goldberg said he tried to reach Ellen via phone calls, text messages, and emails when he got back up from the gym. So he went down to the gym at approximately 10 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. And when he went back upstairs, which is on surveillance at 5:36 p.m., he says that he couldn't get in because the security lock was on, and that he was phoning her, emailing her, texting her, no response. He says he went back downstairs, talked to Phil Hatton, the man that was on duty for the lobby and the security guard for the lobby in the building, and wanted him to help him break in. And Hatton said, I can't do that. That's against our policy. And then Sam said approximately waited. Now, this is what makes no sense to me. 911 wasn't called until I'd have to go back over that actually, but it was roughly between 6:15 and 6:30. What was he doing all that time? Why was he waiting that long to break the door down? Why didn't he call and have EMS come and break the door down like a welfare check? What was going on from approximately 5:36 when he says he went up and couldn't get in until roughly 6 something, right? It doesn't make sense to me. So that's what we, talked about. And when we heard the 911 call, now Hatton has been interviewed, and we're going to jump to that here in a minute, because I'm going to just quickly finish going over what we went over last week. He denies that he ever went up to the apartment. The security camera shows only Sam going towards the elevator, not the security officer. And he says that his security cam shows him at his desk at the time that Sam says he was upstairs breaking in. So there's lie. Who knows what number that would be in what he's already said and done. So this is a clip of Sam in the hallway after working out. So let me see if I can pull that up for you guys. Now, what's interesting about this is that this shows, I believe this is the one that shows, let me go forward a minute here, because we went, actually this one, yeah. So let me pull this up. I've got it up here for you already. So let me go to screen share the screen. And so you're going to be watching Sam, and then you're going to see kind of a strange kind of looking fella, and he's going to be doing some really strange maneuvers. He appears to be incredibly nervous, and he's kind of bouncing around. Now there's going to be a commercial on this, so hopefully we can get it here to show up. Let me try to get it to go. I don't remember all that being in the way. Hopefully I can get it. It says resurfaced clip shows eerie man bouncing around Ellen Greenberg's apartment building on the day of her death. So let me see if I can get this to show. Why is that not showing? I looked at it a little earlier and it was giving me the cameras, but now it doesn't want to do that. There we go. Can you all see that? Let me see if type that in the chat box. Can you guys see that? Who's the stranger man? Yeah, right. Well, that's what we're going to try to figure out. So let me go, as long as you guys can see it, let me go back and hit go. Okay, so there's 4 camera shots. Okay, you've got the outside. Then do you see on the upper right corners? That's Sam. Okay, he's leaving the gym. He's coming down that hallway. Now, if you go in the lower left camera, he's going to come through these doors. Now he's going to come through these doors by the elevator, and he's going to go off camera towards the left. Now, what we're surmising from his testimony is that he went to get the mail. This is prior to him going upstairs to go get in his apartment. So this is roughly 5:30, maybe 34, something like that. So keep an eye on this lobby area now, the lower left-hand camera. There's not going to be anything happening in the parking lot. I don't know if we're going to see the man come out of the door up in the right-hand camera. I watched this so much the last 3 days. I'm a little confused as to which one is which now. But camera 2, which is the right-hand camera, might be the eerie guy. He might come out of this door. That's the stairwell. or he might be coming from outside and we're going to see him in the lobby, but you're going to see him soon. And he's wearing a sweater. I believe he's wearing a sweater and a white collared shirt. And what I'm concerned about, and I'm emailed her parents about this because I've never seen anybody address this yet, unless Gavin has and I missed it. Okay, now there's Sam. Now watch what happens. See, he's got that paper in his hand. Did you see him drop something? I'll show you in a minute. There is a white object now laying on the floor behind Sam. It's you can't really see it, but it fell. Let me see if we can notice it if I go back. Let me try to go back. I'm new at working all these surveillance cameras. They're interesting, that's for sure. There, okay. Now watch what happens. Something drops out of his hand, and now you've got that little white speck on the floor. Well, one of the volunteers I've been working with, she circled it, and I don't think I loaded it, though. I might have to go to my email to show you. She circled it for me. I'm like, heck yeah, he dropped something, and it's right there. That stays there, guys, until 6:30 or 6:25, and Erie guy picks it up an hour later. So that's been laying there a whole hour. Erie guy comes in and picks it up. And now Sam's going in the elevator and he's going up to the apartment. Supposedly he's going to find out that the security lock is locked and that he can't get in. So this is roughly 5:36 p.m. And it's a good 45 to 50 minutes before he calls 911. Now, is this a different one? That's Sam again. I wonder if this is a replay of what we just watched. I didn't remember it taking us to this one shot like that before. We'll have to give it a second because we're at 3 minutes and this video clip is 4:15. So that's what we're waiting for now is to either see Sam again or the Erie guy. But I've got more video footage I want to show you, but I want to clear it with her parents first. So I will show you that when we find out the judge's ruling in the next 5 to 10 days. So when we come back on again to do an Ellen update, hopefully her parents will give me permission. I don't want to show anything that could compromise the investigation. That's why I'm being so careful with anything I do. Okay. Now, that's just a normal person. That's just someone who lives in the building. So okay, now Sam just went back on the elevator. Where is our Erie guy? I thought he would have shown up by now. Oh, wait, that's Sam. I'm not sure where the Erie guy, I didn't see him at all. No, that's not him. That guy just lives in the building. He's not a suspect. Strange. I don't know what happened to it. So that did not show it as I thought it was going to show it. So let me go back. Let's stop screen. There we go. All right, let me put the deck back up and I'll show you the pictures that I actually have to kind of represent this. I think I have another clip too that I might have. Okay, this is the Erie guy, the guy on the left. He's the guy that shows up in these clips that I want to get permission before I show any more of them. He's the guy that picks up whatever the white item was that Sam dropped. This lobby guy, Erie guy, picked it up. And what was really odd about it is when I was watching the footage, he looked both ways to see if anybody was watching him, and then he bent down and picked it up. Now, here's the Erie part, and that's why they're calling him Erie guy. After he walked outside, you could tell he went back towards the lobby to go to the front doors. Guess who showed up a minute later? Sam. And followed in the same path of direction as Erie guy. And about 3 minutes later, and that's what I think that end of that clip was, so Sam came down the elevator, followed the path where Erie guy went with that thing he picked up. He was with Erie guy, in my opinion, for roughly 3 minutes, and then came back through the lobby and came back in the building. So what did he drop? It's very hard to tell. It looks like a square. Now, my opinion is that it's possibly the key card to the gym. I think Sam screwed up. I think he did. I think he dropped his key card to the gym, which is his alibi, proving that he scanned into the gym at 4:45 and scanned out of the gym at 4:36. So it's really quite something. Now, this guy here, when I first saw the surveillance a couple days ago, I thought these two guys were not this guy, because to me the hair looks different. But something to remember, this guy is this clip of him on the left is prior to when we think Ellen was stabbed. So if he was involved in it, if we're just theorizing here, think about what it would do to your body to stab someone 20 times. You're going to sweat. Your hair is probably going to be matted down now. Camera views can kind of make someone not exactly look like they look. But tell me what you guys see. The far right photo, look at his eyebrow. It looks like there's a cut above his eyebrow. And in an earlier clip that I don't have permission to show yet, that I need to get permission to show, he's holding a tissue. So when he first comes out of the door of the stairwell, when we see him for the second time, the left picture is when we see him the first time, which is before we think Ellen was hurt and killed. The picture here coming out of the stairwell is after we think she passed. So he has what looks like some type of a black bag in his right arm, underneath his right arm. He's holding something in his hand, maybe the keys to his car. But before, a clip that I saw before from this anonymous volunteer that's helping me go through all this footage, she thinks it's a Kleenex that he had in his hand when he first came out of the stairwell a couple minutes prior to this, like 10 or 15 minutes prior to this. It's eerie. And I swear there is a mark right above his eye, and she believes he was dabbing the tissue. Now, what we know is that he went towards the bathrooms, which is in the lobby area. There's a set of bathrooms there that he's on camera going towards those bathrooms. Now, interestingly enough, Ellen's parents came to the apartment a couple days later, and Ellen's mom could not go up. It was too emotional for her. So dad went up and got what they needed to get out of the apartment. Mom stayed downstairs, had to use the bathroom. Said found blood, saw blood in the bathroom, immediately called 911 and said there's blood in the lobby bathroom. Nobody searched the lobby bathroom. Not a single police officer ever searched the lobby bathroom of this apartment building. I don't know what came of the blood. I don't know that anyone knows if they tested the blood or what they did. I don't see it in any of the timelines that I've read from other content creators. So I'm still digging, guys. I just started really digging on this case maybe 2 weeks ago because I was pretty wrapped up in these two Florida cases. So I just started digging for answers about, I'm looking for the police report. I'm trying to get answers on, did they test the blood? What's going on? But check out this middle picture of lobby guy. See how there's a bulge in his pocket? I yellowed it out with my highlighter. So, and let me see, Sherry D says, left eyebrow cut arch like the Joker. Yes, absolutely. There's definitely something there. And there's a cut there. And I'm going to try to get you better pictures when we meet on Ellen again after we get the judge's decision. Because this wonderful volunteer sent me all of this footage, and I'm still working my way through it. It's a lot to do. And I blew these up a little bit and used the highlighter to circle, because in the beginning, I really thought that other guy looked a lot like this guy. I thought maybe they were Sam's cousins. So I was starting to get worried that his cousins were involved, but we don't think it's two people. We think it's just one person, but that the camera angle and the lighting can make somebody look thicker, and his hair could look different after he committed that kind of a crime, as he might've been all sweaty, who knows, but he's got something in his pocket. Can you guys see that? It's like a bulge, and I highlighted in yellow for you. I think when he was in the bathroom cleaning up the cut over his eye, that he grabbed a whole bunch of tissues and like paper toweling from the bathroom. He's going back up the stairs now, guys. He's going back up the stairs. And guess who else is upstairs right now? Sam. And guess who hasn't been called yet? 911. So I am not unless I find the police, unless I get the police reports in the next few days, and it tells me that lobby guy has been ruled out, that he works for the building, that he's an employee there, I am suspect of lobby guy. Okay. Let's see here. Sherry D. Sorry, I inquired a lot. You could always DM if you read the live trend. Yes, absolutely. I'm definitely gonna go over all this, guys, again, because I literally just got the footage from this volunteer, and I'm just starting to go through all this footage and piecing this together. But my gut feeling, unless he's been ruled out, and I can tell you that next time we meet, there's something going on here, because he did not have this bulge in his pocket. There is no bulge over here, no bulge in his pocket. And there was definitely what looked like a cut over his eye. And the volunteer also showed me a picture that I don't want to show until I talk to her parents. It looks like he has like a moon shape on his one hand, almost like this. Like if somebody were to be choking you and you were to get free and you were to go like that, that's what it looks like. She zoomed in on it, and it looks like just like what I used to get when my little sister went through her biting phase and she bit me. So there's something to this. I really believe there's something to this, but until I can finish going through the footage and clear it with her parents, I don't want to get too deep into it, because I don't want to accuse this person of necessarily, no, maybe he did work there. Maybe there was somebody spilled something and he cut himself doing a repair job in the building. And is it all coincidence? But it doesn't add up for me right now. And I will definitely do more surveillance footage and take more pictures. Now, what concerned me when I first looked at the footage, and I want to get all of your opinion, he looks so heavy in this picture, and his hair's all flat. And if we go back, how is that the same guy as that? Look at how broad he looks in the shoulders, and he looks fuller in the stomach, and his hair's so flat, and here he looks very thin and in good shape. So when I first saw this, I contacted the anonymous volunteer and said, I think you've got two guys. I don't think you have just one lobby guy. I think there's two, and they look a lot alike, which is what might have confused people. And then I get a picture set of this gentleman. Now, he's wearing khaki pants. He's wearing what looks like a dark sweater. He's wearing a jacket, but this is definitely not the same guy as this. Tell me what you guys say. This is all the same day. This is all the same day. This is during the time that Ellen, these three photos are during the time we believe she was being stabbed or was stabbed or was already stabbed. These three. This guy on the right, and the guy coming through the door, that is, we think it's this guy, but I'm telling you, it just doesn't look like the same person to me. I'm very frustrated with these pictures. Like puffy hair, right? Puffy hair guy is here. He looks younger to me, and he's got the preppy collar and the white t-shirt and the sweater, no coat, khaki pants, but his hair is really, look at how I circled it. Look at how much off the forehead that hair is. And then you go to this guy. That's not lighting. That's not angle. His hair is not even close to being off the forehead as this guy's. And then guy by the elevator, same thing. It's like, is it just a coincidence that they're all dressed alike? Khaki pants, brown shoes, and it's snowing, it's a blizzard. But this is where I'm confused yet. I still have to keep going through this and trying to zoom in. So I know, Sherry D. I think they're different guys. I really do. And we know for sure that Sam has a cousin named Camion Schwartzberg, and that is Uncle Jimmy. That's what they've been calling him on all the other live streams. So I'll call him Uncle Jimmy. Was a judge, a very, very connected judge, if you know what I mean. And I think this could be Camion, but here's the gig. When Gavin showed this, I sent an email to Gavin. I hope he'll get back to me. I want permission to show his work here and there. He got a letter from the Schwartzman's attorney, who is representing Sam, Camion, and James, the judge. Why do you need an attorney? Ellen's been gone since 2011. You've never even been a suspect. Why do the three of you suddenly need an attorney? I'll tell you why, because Gavin and all the other live streamers and podcasters that have been covering this for 2 years. They're freaked out. That's why out of the clear blue sky, Sam decided to issue a statement to CNN. He didn't allow himself to be interviewed, but he issued a statement. And I think this could be Camion, but the lawyer writes to Gavin and says, you're wrong. What is it that Higgins said on JFK? You wrong. It's a new hashtag now. When I get really mad, I just go, you wrong. It's frustrating to me because they claim this is not Camion, and so then someone else said, oh, that's just a random guy who lived in the building. I don't know, guys. He looks so much like this guy. I wish it was closer. I mean, I wish I had the skills technically to blow it up. I may contact an old friend of mine to see if he would have the skills to blow this guy up, the one on the right, because that's the only clip we have of him. He came in the front door. He went to the elevator, got on the elevator. This is at right before EMS gets there. So, let's see. Look at the hand positions. Thank you, Sherry D. Look at hand positions when they open the door, different heights. Okay, so let's go back. So this was me. I did that yellow marker because I was trying to compare as well. That here's the little window that's on the door. And if we go back, this is him. This is this guy, the sweater. Let's call him sweater guy. Lobby guy is what the volunteer called him. But I think we have 2 lobby guys possibly. So here's the bulk. He's going up to the apartment. In my surmise, my summation is that he took these towels from the bathroom, got him his eyebrow to stop bleeding, went upstairs to help Sam clean up the apartment. Because where's all of Ellen's blood, guys? There was barely any blood in the kitchen with Ellen. Where is the blood from 20 stab wounds and a gash to the back of her head that was so severe? Where is the blood? So here's this guy, here's puffy hair guy. So I have some more footage that I will show you. I promise next week. That's even more. I'll show you the footage of him actually picking up the item that Sam dropped and looking like both ways. So let me go back to, puffy hair, same day. Yep, same day. You guys think it's not the same guy. I don't know if Paula, Paula hasn't said anything in a while, but so okay, so let's remind ourselves from last week, because this is a lot. This case is a lot. Sam, they know by his phone records, made a 3-way call from the lobby of the apartment before he broke into the apartment. He called cousin Camion and his uncle. Who does that, guys? Who calls their cousin and their uncle to say, I'm locked out of my apartment? Why? You're a grown up. You're an adult. If the man in the lobby says he can't help you break into your apartment because it's that safety latch, then you call him. You either do it yourself. Come on, Sam, you're a big guy. Break into the apartment yourself. It's just a safety latch. People break those all the time. They're not that safe. Let me tell you guys, don't get those. Okay. I was to so many calls where people thought that was going to save them. They do not save anybody. They're just there for like your peace of mind that you're going to hear the person trying to break in. Sherry D, random guy, not the same either. Yep. If those floor tiles are 1 by 1, random guy looks taller. Yeah. So I think that those are 3 people then, which means the random guy that came in at the end is either Camion, the cousin, or it's just a guy who lives in the apartment. But the other 2 guys, to me, do not look the same. And maybe when I get through the other footage and the next day or 2, I'll change my mind, because the volunteer seems to think that the lighting and the camera can really mess with girth. But how does it mess with hair? Like, how does it mess with hair height? Unless, like I said, the one where his hair is flatter is after Ellen has been stabbed 20 times. And maybe he got his hair wet, or maybe he was sweating so profusely, right? Good question, Sherry D. Who owns the apartment? So no, well, we don't know. That's a really good question, because anything's possible. I wrote it down. The apartment is now, these are my notes just from yesterday when I talked to the volunteer. Melissa Ware is the building manager. Supposedly she's been the building manager all these years, and it's called Apex now. It's no longer called Venice Lofts, is what it was called when Sam and Ellen lived there. So I'm going to try to call her tomorrow and see if she would be willing to interview with me and talk to me a little bit. And maybe, I could ask her a few questions. But why are you calling your uncle and your cousin? Why are you doing that, Sam? You're a grown up. You're locked out of your apartment. Now it's been almost a half an hour. What if Ellen fell or hurt herself? Or what if she had a stroke or a heart attack? I mean, obviously she was young, but there's got to be a good reason why she's not coming to the door, why she put the safety lock on. Why have you not already called EMS to help you break in if you were concerned about breaking in yourself? So this three-way call was at approximately 6:14 prior to him calling EMT. And then supposedly it was, from what I've already read, cousin Kamian did come over and arrived there. Now I saw a couple different things. He arrived before EMT, and then another live streamer says, no, he arrived after EMT. So what I'm trying to do in the next week or two is get through all of this BS, because there's live streamers saying one thing and it's not their fault. They're all trying to do their best, but I want to get down to the nitty gritty of who and when and how they got there. I want to read the police reports. I've already looked at all the autopsy. We listened to the 911 call. Do you guys want to listen to the 911 call again? Or should we just keep going to the interview with the security man? Because we listened to it twice, and we can play it again next week, because we're going to try to do an overhaul of everything. So we can play it again next week for sure. So yeah, more surveillance pictures of Sam headed to elevator going to gym. And that's what I have them. I just wanted to make sure it was okay with volunteer. I'll check my email here in a minute. She was going to email me some more, and I might have them. I was so busy yesterday with doing the live with John O'Keefe and everything, I didn't get a chance. So this we covered last week, that it was the EMTs said 10 wounds. It turned out to be 20 plus the bad cut to the back of her head. Now, I don't know why I have this up here. So let me go up and see what this is. Hang on a second. This might be something I didn't get to play for you guys last week. So let me go copy it, the link, and get in it real quick. Stand by, get up and stretch, do whatever you do. Oh, yes. Okay. Let's check this out for a minute. This is fair use. We're educating, so we'll have to stop it about every 1 or 2 minutes, and I'll send him an email and let him know, because I don't want to get a strike. But I just want you to see what he looks like, so you can go find. He has a whole library. So let me bring this up on the screen here really quick. So let's see. Let's bring him up. And as long as we only show something for a few minutes and we stop and make educational comments, that's fair use. And we're allowed to do that. We just can't show his whole show without his permission. Like last night, I showed James Jackson's video with his permission, and he was also there. So that we can do that, but we can't just show someone's whole show. That is against, copyright. So let me try to pull this up for you guys. Okay, here we go. Let me go pop back into the room with you guys, make sure you can see it. Okay. And let me put it on the bigger screen here let's see, make it big for you both. Default view, full screen. There we go. Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Gavin Fish, and this is my channel. I appreciate all of those of you who are coming back over and over again, who have subscribed to the channel. And if you are new here, you like what I do, after you've watched a little bit, please consider subscribing to the channel. That's a good way to support my efforts. Now, today we're going to dig into a case that ever since I found out about it has really, really bothered me. And this is the case of the murder of Ellen Greenberg. Now, notice that I say murder because I believe it is a murder, but as we get into the case, you're going to find out that a lot of people consider, well, one person considers her death a suicide, and that person really matters. And so as we hop into this, I'm going to show you why I believe it's murder. Now, if you go over to my website, which is gavinfish.com, and click on cases, you'll find a link to the Ellen Greenberg case file page, and you will find that I've put together a whole bunch of documents and photos. I mean, look at all these documents, and all of these came to me thanks to people who are supporting me on Patreon.
So guys, I have just started to dig it. He has so many documents. It's almost overwhelming. So I'm just getting there. So that's why I'm hoping as soon as the judge comes through with this decision on if he's going to overrule the unaliving and call it a homicide, then I'll be ready to go and I'll have a lot more to share with you. But Gavin has a lot. He has done the deepest dive. I think he did 8 parts total. So we'll just kind of go forward here a minute and see what else he has to say. Because I don't want to break the fair use.
I got the.
So let me see. I want to go to. I told you guys a lot about this last time. Let me. Oh, wait, let's go here.
At the Venice Lofts Apartments. He left at 4:45. Okay. At 5:15, he states, or between 5:15 and 5:30, he states that he was done working out. He goes up to the apartment building or to the apartment and he can't get in. He states that his keys are inside and that it's locked from the inside. His statement then goes on to say that he texted her, he called her, he emailed her, he called through the door for about an hour trying to get into the apartment. He then states that he went down to the security guard who he asked if he could help him get into the apartment building. The security guard said, no, we can't really do that. But Sam's statement goes on to say that he and the security guard went up the elevator to the 6th floor, and then with the security guard, he broke down the door. That is his story. Okay. Now, continuing his story, as he goes inside the apartment, he sees Ellen on the floor in a pool of her own blood. And let me show you one of the very few crime scene photos that we have here. Let's see. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Okay, so this is one of the only crime scene photos that really have leaked out. And Ellen was described as being leaned up against this corner between the sink, which is up here, and the stove, which is over here. I can kind of show you a floor plan here. This floor plan is available from the website of the Venice Lofts apartment, but it is a mirror image
on the Venice Lofts apartment. One of their actual apartment.
So she was leaned up against this corner right here, and between the stove and the sink. And he calls 911 according to his statement, and 911 tells him to start CPR. He says at that point he noticed that there was a knife sticking out of her chest. Okay, so this is his story. 911 dispatches police and medical personnel. They pronounce her dead at about 6:40 p.m. that night. That doesn't necessarily mean that she died at 6:40. That just means that that's when they determine the cause of death. So, okay, the next thing that happens is Ellen.
And let's remember that if the EMS, she was declared dead at 6:40. Yes, the 911 call was very sus for sure. But also the lobby going on with the lobby guys, they're up and down between the time that Sam finished working out and when he supposedly broke in the door and when the EMS actually got there. And that third guy that we're not sure if we rule him out or not yet. We don't know. I have to find out. But he got there at like 6:25 or 6:26. So when he got there, they were all upstairs. So if that was cousin Kamian, he's obviously coming to his, cousin's rescue to help him through such a tragic time. So let's finish because I agree with everything Gavin's saying. I have actually never watched this. I've just gone in and gotten bits and pieces from his library, but I haven't watched all of his episodes. I watched a couple of the most recent ones, but for some reason I did not get a chance to watch this one. Haven't seen it.
Ellen's body is taken to the medical examiner's office in the city of Philadelphia. And the following day, before I get into that, I want to show you that, I'll just continue. Okay, so that day on the 27th, an autopsy is performed by Dr. Marlon Osborne, and he finds that Ellen has been stabbed 20 times, exactly 20. 2 times in the back of the head, 2 times in the back of the neck, and 10 times in the chest and torso. Now, if you don't like this kind of thing, I suggest maybe you stop the video right now, but I want to go over and show you a couple of, they're not autopsy photos. What happened is her parents had a company called BioMX create computer models of her and what happened to her. So, but they're based on the autopsy photos. So this does show Ellen's face, it does show her body, and it shows kind of the violence that,
guys, because we went over all this last week. So I'm going to skip this because I'm just curious to see, I want to go forward now. I want to see if he says anything more, because I've got a lot of this information from the different venues and sources that I found. But I think, pretty much everything he's talking about in this, we have talked about. Now, here's the door. This is interesting.
Right. So, and let me get up here. So if we kind of come in here and take a look, yes, there are screws pulled out of it. There's no damage to the door jamb whatsoever, but it is damaged, I guess, is kind of their point. And his story was that he had to break in. They also, because the crime scene analysis, took a look and there were no footprints in the snow on the balcony. There was no evidence anybody had come up to their 6th floor apartment building. Remember, this is what it looks like to get up to the top. So the police are saying there's no way anybody could have gotten up there. It was snowy. There was snow. There would have been footprints. There would have been evidence on the outside there. And the door latch is broken. So I guess it makes sense that Mr. Goldberg had to break in. And so there's no other reasonable determination other than she killed herself because there was nobody else in the apartment. Okay. And remember, it was Mr. Goldberg who told investigators that he had to break in and a security guard was with him, right? However, when we go to the documents, there is a declaration from the security guard. I have redacted his information. What he says is, in January 2011, I was employed as a front desk clerk providing security at the Venice Lofts Apartments. I worked the afternoon and evening shift on January 26th and was on duty when Ellen Greenberg was found dead on the 6th floor. I was the only desk clerk security person working on the premises during the afternoon and evening. Before I learned Ms. Greenberg was dead, Samuel Goldberg, her fiance, had come to the concierge desk where I was stationed on the 1st floor of the apartment building. Mr. Goldberg asked if I could help him get into the apartment, and I told him I could not. So everything so far that Mr. Goldberg stated has been corroborated by this person, the security guard. Okay, but then he says, I did not accompany or escort Mr. Goldberg up the elevator, stairs, or otherwise at any time on January 26, 2011. Had he been accompanied or escorted, it would have been by me. I have reviewed the videotapes taken from the facility for January 26, 2011, which record activity in the 1st floor elevator lobby and other common areas of the facility from about 3 to 7 p.m. on January 26, 2011. The video confirms that neither I nor anyone else accompanied Mr. Goldberg to his apartment at any time during the full length of the videotape. If I had accompanied or escorted Mr. Goldberg to his apartment, I would have done it using the elevator and it would be captured on the video. I did not see Mr. Goldberg enter the apartment at any time on January 26, 2011. I did not witness anything Mr. Goldberg did or did not do on the 6th floor of the facility at any time. Because I was not with him, I could not observe anything Mr. Goldberg did or did not do on the 6th floor of the facility. I do not know Mr. Goldberg entered apartment 603 at any time on January 26, 2011 because I was not with him. I did not see Ms. Greenberg's body in apartment 603 at any time on January 26, 2011. If anyone says I was with or able to observe Mr. Goldberg on the 6th floor when or just prior to when he claimed to enter up the apartment on January 26th, they would be wrong because I was not with him or otherwise in a position to observe him.
Okay, so I don't want to overdo my use, and I want to thank Gavin for all of the amazing videos he's made on Ellen's behalf because he really has just knocked it out of the park with his investigative coverage of her case. So let me go back now and find get us caught up to where we ended Wednesday. And again, there is no way, you guys, how in the world did they ever say that this was an unaliving? 20 stab wounds plus the huge one to the back of her head. And trigger alert, we're going to have to fly by these autopsies photos that we saw. So replay, I'm giving you a trigger alert that we're going to go through those because we went through them in the last live. You can watch that in the library because I want to get to what I want to finish getting to tonight. So trigger alert now. That's, by the way, that is the head wound. And no, don't tell me that 20 other stab wounds plus that, and that's all the blood that was left there. There's just no way at all that I believe that. So we know there was a shoddy police investigation. We know that they allowed the apartment to be cleaned the day after. They never even had time. Sam Goldberg's uncle was allowed to enter the crime scene and remove Ellen's laptop, iPhone, and purse. He denies removing her purse. He says he only removed the laptop and her iPhone and 2 suits for Sam for the funeral, because in the Jewish faith, the funeral is held very, very quickly. So that was his excuse for going into the apartment before the search warrant was even issued, before they had not closed down the crime scene. They let him enter a crime scene. I mean, it's so ludicrous. And then the next day, they let a professional crime scene company enter the apartment and clean it. And the Philadelphia police gave permission. And her autopsy hadn't even been fully completed yet. I mean, this is insanity, right? And yes, Sherry, thank you. I didn't know it was in the first 24. For some reason, I was thinking 48. Thank you for telling me that. No, there was no surveillance video from the 6th floor. And Sherry, I saw your question. I don't think that there's roof access because they lived on the 6th floor. It looked like there was a 7 or 8 maybe. So I don't believe so. But when I get a hold of this building manager, I'll have those answers. I wrote down your question here, roof access. So I'll be sure to ask her, but I don't believe so. So the apartment has now been cleaned. Any hope of any other DNA, hair fibers from clothes is pretty much gone, right? They didn't use the special luminol where when you spray that, it'll show where blood is between the cracks of the counter. What I'm going to get to in a little bit here is that someone else, a different medical examiner who went over all this for the Greenbergs that they hired, said that her body was moved. So that's what I think it happened. I think it happened over by the table, and that's what they were cleaning up, this person with the bulge in his pocket. So the chain of custody has been completely broken by Judge Jim Schwartzman, who should know better. He, of all people, is a judge. He knows the law. He's an attorney. He should have known never ever to get that, to go into that apartment when it hadn't been searched thoroughly yet. I don't get it. EMT Express. Yes, yeah, absolutely. The police. This is a complete shoddy debacle, which leads me to say that it reminds me of the Karen Reed, John O'Keefe, because that case was handled so poorly right from the get-go. It was almost as if the police were instructed to do a bad job. We're told to stand down. This is what this is. We're calling this a non-aliving, and that's it. We're not doing any more. That's it. It came down from the top. That's what everyone really believes. So this is Ellen's best friend, I believe, from college. They went to Penn State together, I think, or it could be her best friend from the area teaching. I'm not positive. I don't know much about this, but what I do know is that statements were made by her friends and family that she wasn't right. Something was wrong. She was anxious. She wasn't feeling right. She wasn't sleeping right. Guess what? When you're getting the blank kicked out of you all the time, because as we learned last week, she had they said 7 marks on her body that were in various stages of healing. But when another medical examiner looked at it that the Greenbergs hired, it was actually 11. And it wasn't, the medical examiner didn't count right. So here you have a body that could potentially be a homicide, someone who's been stabbed 20 times, who has varying degrees of bruises all over her body. How do you not know that shouts and screams domestic violence? You are a medical examiner. That's your job, to know what the signs of that are, and to alert that this could be domestic violence ongoing, because the bruises were all different stages of healing. So how do you not know that, right? How do you not know that? And how do you not write that down? And how do you not count them properly? That is your only job. Like my mom always loves to say, you had one job and you totally screwed it up. And in one of Gavin's most recent videos that I did watch, it's been proven that the boss of the medical examiner, the head doctor, lied in his interview, because he said that this person had never been written up, had never had any discipline. Well, guess what? It was found that he did. They went back into employee records, and he did have disciplinary letters for being sloppy and not including things that needed to be included, and for surmising something that shouldn't have been surmised, and for not being detailed enough. He'd been written up numerous times. So there's the other problem, big time right there. So fast forward, now we're in 2012, and Ellen's family has ordered, they ordered autopsy reports, photos, everything they could get their hands on. And they had this ME, Dr. Wayne Ross, issue a report. And his findings were that it was indicative, definitely, of a homicide. Yes, Sherry D. No detail, no influence. Yeah, we think so. So when he first ruled that it was a homicide, he overturned it 2 days later, after there was some kind of meeting with the prosecutor and the police that there wasn't enough evidence to even begin to do any type of investigation of a homicide. So they convinced, however they did convince him, we don't know, in this supposedly meeting that was had. And then they didn't even call Ellen's parents. They didn't even find out about it right away, that they overturned the homicide and called it an unaliving. So they were treated so badly. So this doctor, I think is it Cyril Wex, he said strongly suspicious of homicide. And this was a report that he gave to the family back in 2012. So then 5 years go by where they're doing these little battles. They're trying to get attention to her case. I think that's when her Facebook page started. It's up to like 42,000 people now. And they finally got Detective Scott, I think it's Eelman. This is when he provided the report. Now this was in 2011 when she was in a homicide, murdered by Sam, we believe. And in 2017, they get this detective to provide a report that he believed that her body was moved. And it had to do with the flow of blood, of blood from the reports and from the autopsy report. And this is what he writes. It is my opinion that Miss Greenberg was not in the position in which she was found at the time that the blood was deposited on her sweatpants, sweatshirt, and shoes. It is also my opinion that Miss Greenberg's head had been in several positions during the time of blood flow, and it remained so for enough time as to have the blood flow across her face and back towards her ear, upward towards her eyes, and also downward towards her chin. So this was all done in like a mathematics fashion, that it had to do with the blood flow. So that is what he said and told the family in 2017. He says, it is my opinion, though, that the bloodstain evidence in this case is inconsistent with positioning which Miss Greenberg was found. Furthermore, I have serious concerns regarding the pattern bloodstain to the loft of Miss Greenberg's right leg, the minimal amount of bloodstains on the floor in comparison with those found on the clothing of Miss Greenberg, and the flow patients of the bloodstains on Miss Greenberg's face relative. Then he says 10. I'm not sure what that means, the position in which she was found. So obviously he doesn't agree with anything that they said. And we could already see that by the amount of, the small amount of blood. So now we're into 2018. And this is when this Henry C. Lee, PhD, issued a report that the number and types of wounds and bloodstain patterns are consistent. He was like 100%, this is a homicide in 2018, after looking over all of the other reports. So the Greenbergs filed this civil suit in 2019. And that had to do with, that her death should not be no longer ruled an unaliving, that it should be ruled a homicide. And that was in the courts for a very long time. The capacity, the victim's estate, it was in, trial court. It was just dragging forever. There was pre-trial discovery. The parties submitted exhibits, and that went on for, I think, almost 2 years. Nobody's in any big hurry to help the Greenbergs. They want them to spend as much of their money. And this is something I'll read to you next week. It's a little bit lengthy for tonight. Then there's the written declaration that you saw when we watched Gavin for a little bit, of the security guard saying that he did not go up to the apartment, that was not something he did, that he remained downstairs. So the parents presented still images from surveillance, which confirmed that Goldberg went up to the apartment alone. And that was what we saw earlier. So now we're in 2022, and it's hard to imagine how long that they have been going through this and battling and trying to get her death changed to a homicide and get someone to investigate it. So it was, I guess, in December, they provided the civil case depositions to an attorney and general at the time. The attorney general at the time was still Josh Shapiro, who I believe now is the governor of Philadelphia, right? Hoping that they would reopen Ellen's case, because it was never really open. It was closed immediately, and it was ruled an unaliving within 2 days. So they reviewed it, and they stood by the unaliving ruling. So the Goldbergs just keep getting hammered with no's. We're not going to help you. There's nothing we can do for you. So now let me go up and see. I believe I have the interview with the security officer. I think I pulled that for tonight. I was going to wait till next time because I didn't want this live to go too long tonight, since we're coming back tomorrow night. So let me go up and find it for you. I should have it here. Oh, I have to stop. Hang on, I got to stop sharing the screen from last time first. All these little tricky things you get to do when you are working the tech as well as trying to be the presenter. Okay, let me find it. Is that the one? It never really tells me if I'm on the right one or not. Now I don't see it. Where did it go? Well, stand by a second. I don't know if that's Gavin, so that's not it. And that's not it either. And that's our tape that we had from before. So I'm going to have to go look for it real quick because I want you to see that. So bear with me a second. I'm going to go take a stretch, take a halftime as we want to call it. And I'm going to go look for the that news clip that I want to show you from Brian Enton, where he interviewed the security guard, because the security guard is very honest and telling about it. Okay, I think this is it. Now, where is the... Okay, there we go. I found it. I just didn't, I guess I just didn't have it opened like I thought I did. So sorry about that. Let me get it opened for you. Okay, now let's see here. I'm going to close off a couple tabs, guys, so that it's easier for me to find it when I come down into the share the screen component. I think this should be it. Let me know if you can see it. I'm just peeking back. Okay, I see it. All righty. Stretch your knee, she says. Oh, I will. As soon as I hit this clip. Thank you, Sherry D. I am going to stretch my knee. All right, let me go turn this on for you guys. And thanks to everybody who's here in replay. I really appreciate it. Ellen's family absolutely appreciates it. Stretching knee now, Sherry D.
Do not have enough airtime to run down all the reasons that suicide is a very hard sell in the death of Ellen Greenberg. But here is one. Ellen's fiance, the man who found her body, told police that he had to break down the door to get to her and was with building security, the actual guard, when he did so. The trouble is that security guard told police he was nowhere near that fiance or that door when the door got kicked in. Our Brian Enton, of course, tracked down that security guard 13 years later after Ellen's death. And here's what he has to say about it today.
Did Sam ever ask you to go, or did you ever go with Sam up to the door when he was trying to get in?
No.
Do you know where that story came from?
Came from him. He know I didn't walk up with him. And I get angry when I hear that, because for him to lie on me or any concierge who would have been there at that particular time says a lot about him.
We were just at Ellen's best friend's house, and she was telling us that she talked to Sam afterwards, and he said that the security guard advised him to use his shoulder to bust open the door.
Really? Okay, if that's what he says, hey, truth don't need no company, man. You know, if that's what he said, that's what it is for him. My cameras and my guide say I was sitting at the front desk and advised him not to go upstairs. I know he lied. He know he lied. But why doesn't the system say, well, did anybody ever ask him, why did you lie on the guard? That was it. We have proof to say that he, I don't know if anybody talked to him that way. I don't know why they don't talk to him that way. I certainly would talk to him that way, because if I applied my street knowledge to it, I can get to him. Say, what the f*** you talking about, man? You know f***ing well I wasn't. I can go to him like that. They're going to arrest me later. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. And Brian Enton joins me live now from Philadelphia. Two things are unbelievable: that you were able to track down all these people and get those incredible interviews, and what they actually said. Let's just start with that building management security guard. 13 years later, Brian, he seems crystal clear in his memory of what happened.
He is, and he's very emotional, Ashley. I mean, he almost really broke down at one point. He's disturbed by the whole thing, and he's upset that he wasn't believed. And he's just another person who has told us that they don't feel that this was properly investigated.
So as I'm just gobsmacked by the interview, because at first I thought maybe the only inconsistency was the story that Sam Goldberg told the police, which was, I went back up to the front door of the apartment I shared with my fiance, and the building security guard accompanied me when I broke down the door. Clearly, that was a lie, according to the guard. He said, I never was there. I told him not to do that. But also the fact that he said the guard told him to use his shoulder and that he did it twice, according to Ellen's friend. He said, just not true. I didn't do that.
Yeah, and that was Ellen's friend Allison, who said that when she talked to Sam, Sam said that he used the shoulder to push the door in. And when we asked the guard about it, he almost like laughed. He's like, no, I would never say that. I never told him to push the door in. I never left the concierge desk in the lobby of the condo. And he says he told the police that. He says he told the police that early on.
I just can't understand how that wouldn't be something that factors into this suicide reclassification. It's confounding.
Yes, it is confounding. It's extremely confounding and maddening. I totally believe the security officer, the doorman, the concierge. He point blank says some really telling things. Truth don't need no company, man. And he's speaking to you, Sam. He knows that you lied. And I love that he had the guts to say this. I know he lied. He knows he lied. And yet here we sit in 2025. And Ellen was taken from her family, her friends, her parents, their only child in 2011. How is this possible? Which is even the little bit that I've been able to dig and show you from the past 2 to 3 weeks, and what I'm going to continue to dig and look into and talk to the parents and hopefully talk to some more family members and the building manager. That security guard was emotional. He believes that I think he knows Sam did it. I think he really believes he did it. And I think he has every reason to understand that and know that. If he probably went and watched some of these other YouTube content creators that have been doing this, like Gavin Fish, and Surviving the Survivor has covered it, but not in any depth like Gavin Fish. There are a couple other that I've looked into. I've tried to contact because I was going to see if they wanted to come on the show with me, because they've done so much work and I don't want to use their work without their permission. So hopefully we'll get some more context. I really want to connect with all the people that have been live streaming about Ellen and believe, and a couple of them been really bold. They're like, these 2 ladies that I watched last week, they were just screaming into the computer, like, come forward, you loser, you liar, you coward. I mean, it was like, whoa, I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just saying, in my opinion, based on the evidence and the autopsies, this person, Ellen Greenberg, did not commit the unaliving act. There is absolutely no way. And there's too much other suspecting evidence. And Sam has never once, not even from the minute the 911 call happened, has never once considered that someone took his fiance's life. He never once. He said in the 911 call, oh, she fell. She must have fell on the knife. He had it all worked out from the get-go, because he was told, he knew what to do. It's sick, it's sad, it's horrific. And when we come back together next week, hopefully we'll know what the judge has decided to do, and hopefully we will get more answers, and they will overturn this travesty, this absolute travesty that has happened to Ellen and her family. And so the breaking news since August, because I didn't get to this last week, so it was what we just showed, that they were, they're not happy with it at News Nation. They have covered this quite a bit. These were just the pictures of what I just showed you, the video. Brian Enton is not happy with this. He's been covering this more and more. Nancy Grace covered it. Oh, by the way, we got a message from Nancy Grace. She said we were doing a good job and to keep it up and to keep standing for Ellen. So wow, I was pretty impressed with that. I didn't see that one coming. So that was fantastic. Oh, thank you, Sherry D. Thank you so much. I really enjoy helping others. I absolutely can't stand injustice. I cannot stand it when people lie and get away with crimes. I guess that's why I was so sensitive to kind of what's gone on social media. I haven't spoken live about this, and I'm not going too much tonight, just to say that I'm a sensitive person. So when people decide they don't like me anymore, or they decide to lie about me and say things that aren't true, I really can't tolerate it, because I do my best to always be truthful and to be square with people and transparent and talk things out to my best ability. So when people certain content creators have lied about my career. They have lied about other things about me. I get up in my feelings, and Turtle Boy actually went on the Twitter today, so I can say this. He went on the Twitter and told everybody who's arguing in the Free Karen Read movement to stop. And it's not just the people that I came to know that are being nasty and arguing. It apparently, I guess a lot of people, I don't know if you saw this, Sherry D, but apparently there was some type of to-do this morning. I tried to stay off of all social media today and focus on Ellen, but I have heard it through the grapevine from people sending me DMs and PMs that there was a to-do today outside the courthouse, something to do with Tom CPU and Dennis Sweeney, and I believe it was Peter Murphy, correct? And those, I'm getting everybody's names right. And I don't know because I didn't look, but I just know something happened because it was blowing up all over with the Karen Read movement. So I'll look into it later tonight. I won't cover it. It's not, I don't want to cover anything that doesn't have to do with the 7 families that I'm standing for, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be transparent. I'm not going to not be myself. It's been a hell of a month with people accusing us of things we never did. And I'm tired of it. And I'm really not going to put up with much longer. I mean, I'll look into whatever I can do to file complaints to YouTube, file complaints to Twitter, whatever I have to do to get these really crazy people. Sorry, but you're crazy. You're coming after a retired police officer, for God's sake, who's just trying to stand for people. So leave me alone. This is your final, leave me alone. Just stop. Okay. I don't want to hear my name in writing anymore on your silly tweets and your damn live streams. I don't want to hear my name come out of your mouth. It's just, it's over. You're done. Stop. So it's been a frustrating couple weeks, couple months with this. And Turtle Boy has finally had enough of it because everybody's in Free Karen Read and they're all in his stream. And he came out today and said, stop, knock it off. I think he said, shut the fuck up is what he said. I took a screenshot of it. So good for you, Aiden. Good for you. I wish you'd come out about a month ago because it would have been nice because then maybe I wouldn't have been harassed for the last month and maybe these other 10 people. And if you're interested to know, all you have to do is go on Twitter and follow any of the other content creators who have been being harassed by 2 other content creators and you'll figure it all out because I'm not going to go over it. But I am going to be transparent and tell you that I have enough on my plate. I am trying to help families solve crimes. So I've spent time in the Volusia County Sheriff's Office, the Marion County Sheriff's Office. I've been on the phone, emailing. I am on the ground with my families. That's what I'm trying to do. So I don't want anything to do with any more of this bickering and drama and nastiness. But when you harass people and you dox them and you call them names and you accuse them of things they didn't do, there's no reason for that. That can't stand anymore. This is supposed to be true crime. This is supposed to be a family of people that care about victims and care about people that have been murdered. And especially in these unsolved cases and cases where they've charged the wrong person, like we believe Karen has been wrongfully charged. So get your shit together and stop bothering people. It's just ridiculous. It's got to be done. Enough is a freaking enough. So that's all I have to say about that. I'm not saying anybody's names. I'm not going to go over it all with you. If you want, don't be interested in this, please. It's not worth your time. It's childish until the point where the harassment started and the lies and the doxing. But before that, it was a tad childish. And I'm embarrassed that I had to be in it because I didn't do anything to deserve it. I'm telling you the truth. I didn't ask for it, but I did mouth off. I did stand up. I did snark on Twitter. I admit to all that because I can't put up with that kind of behavior. I can't just sit here and say it's okay to behave that way. Grown adults, I won't. So if there's any more coming at me, if they continue, I will cease and desist them. I will do whatever I have to do legally to stop them from putting my name in their mouth. So that is all I have to say. Now I can rest easier tonight because this has been on my mind and I'm tired of dealing with it. So thank you, Aiden. Thank you, Turtle Boy, because you made it possible for me to speak to this. And thank you to everyone else in the movement that has been speaking to it because it is utter harassment and it cannot stand any longer. We, as they've been saying, they say we have Karen's to free. Well, I have Ellen's to get justice for, and Suzanne Morphew's, and Sandra Greenberg's. And where is Sarah Ebelsol? We have to find her. She's been missing for 2 years. And why is Jason Veach, the people that held him down in a bar and chokeholded him and killed him, why are they not in jail? So I am busy my volunteers that help me are busy. We will no longer participate in any of this nonsense. So when we come back next week, we're going to go over the rest of that surveillance footage once I get permission to show it. Because again, I feel there might be a lead in the case due to this lobby guy, and I don't want to do anything to hurt the case. I will let you know what's happening with Kara and her case and what's going on with Jason, and also with Michelle. She's been putting up hundreds and hundreds of flyers all over Marion County. And unfortunately, they're being torn down. So she texted with me this morning and told me that over 100 flyers that she put up this morning, were already torn down by 10:45. So we know who's tearing them down. It is the family of the gentleman who is considered a person of interest. Again, he's a person of interest again because he won't tell the truth. He refuses to tell the truth. If he drove Sarah Ebersol from that house party back to her house and what time, he won't tell the truth. And that's a problem, because if he had nothing to do with Sarah's disappearance, why is he not telling the truth? So the other issue that came up just today, and I didn't even get a chance to talk to Michelle about it yet, is that one of the other gentlemen that was at this party with her was arrested on the 30th today. So I'm going to pull his police. Well, I don't know if they'll let me see it yet because I don't know if he's been processed, but he was arrested for, guess what? Theft, grand theft. So if this guy can commit grand theft, and he was one of the last people to see Sarah Ebersol before she went missing, how do we know he didn't steal the $2,000 that she had in her purse that night, that she was planning to take to a meeting with the father of her child? So now, in my opinion, and I'll talk to Michelle tomorrow, I think we have 3 suspects again. I think this very scary looking man who just got arrested today could have possibly killed her for the money, because nasty, horrible humans do that all the time. It's possible. I just don't see the current person they have as person of interest. I've looked into his background. I don't see him for it. He lives with his girlfriend. He's got 4 kids. I just don't see him for it. I see possibly now this guy who just got arrested for grand theft, and I still see the father of her child who was domestically abusing her for years, who she had restraining orders over, who beat up a 75-year-old man days after Sarah went missing. Joe had a meltdown. He beat up a 75-year-old man, and he got in a car accident. Why? And he's keeping the child from Michelle's family. They haven't seen their niece, their grandchild, in 2 years. And he moves all the freaking time. And an anonymous school teacher contacted me and told me recently that there's something off with him, that he was always bad-mouthing Sarah to the teachers, to the administration. So this is concerning. So there should be a big update about where is Sarah Ebersol next week. We'll have another update on Kara and Jason. And I'm just starting to possibly get a contact with the Suzanne Morphew case in Colorado. Heartbreaking. Mom of 2 daughters, went missing on Mother's Day, was missing for 2 years. Her body was found accidentally while they were looking for another missing person. And it took 7 months for the results of her autopsy to come back because of the decomposition to her body. And what was really terrible is it was tranquilizer. There was tranquilizer in her bones. And guess who had a tranquilizer gun? Her husband. Guess who was arrested in the early days of her still being missing because of all the other evidence that they found in the house? Her husband. Guess who got released a month before his trial because they decided they didn't have enough to get a jury, and they were afraid that if they did find her body and they could prove that he did it, then they would no double jeopardy. They figured he would get off, and then that'd be that. So they released him, and I believe it's called without prejudice. Someone corrected me once because I think I said it wrong, but that just means whether it's with or without. I get them confused. That means they can retry him. So maybe they're trying to get evidence, but now it's just been almost labeled a cold case in some respects, but it's open. It's an open case. So I may have a lead on a family member where we can start covering a little bit more about that. So Supreme Court decision for Ellen, any idea when? No, they said sometime at the end of January, early February. So we're just going to wait now on needles and pins, and I will go live that very night. Once we know, I'll go. So that's why I'm trying to prepare the rest of that surveillance to show you, because I want to show you, lobby guy, whatever Sam dropped, I think it was the key card for the gym. And I think he had an oh shit moment when he got up to the apartment to clean up all the blood, and it was like, oh my God, I dropped the key card. That's my alibi. And lobby guy says, I gotcha. If it's still there, I got it. And he went down and found it. Now, sure, it could be anything but that. It could be that Sam dropped what was maybe a piece of paper, and lobby guy works in the building and he's been ruled out, and he just, after an hour of nobody else picking up the piece of paper and throwing it away, lobby guy picked it up and threw it away after he looked both ways, after he was in the bathroom, after there was blood found in the bathroom 2 days later, after he stuffed his pockets with what looked like paper towels and went up the stairs, didn't take the elevator, after all of that. So we're going to go over all of that again next week when we talk. Well, as soon as we get that decision, we will live again on Ellen Greenberg as soon as we get the decision, and I'll put it all over social media for all of you. Update, let's see. Oh, update show title. Oh, yes. Okay, very good. Thank you. And I yes, okay, gotcha. What else here? Thought we knew. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Right. There was a trank, like a empty cartridge was in the dryer. Thanks, Sherry D. I'm glad you know about this case. Actually, before we leave today, let me just pull up the I'll call it the teaser. Let me just pull it up. I don't have much yet. I haven't had I've always featured Suzanne Morphew when we talk about domestic violence on Wednesday nights. I've always put up her picture. I've told you guys about her since August. Never done a full show on her because I didn't have all of the info, and I still don't. So I'm working on it. This is Suzanne Morphew, guys. And she, like I said, she was from Colorado. She was originally from Indiana. Her dad owned like a root beer company, and she was originally from Indiana. And they moved to Colorado. They wanted to be closer to their daughter. Their older daughter was going to college in Colorado. So they sold their home in Indiana, built this beautiful mansion because Barry's business was doing very well, and Suzanne was a school teacher. Built this mansion in the mountains of Colorado. I mean, the pictures I'll show you when we do our full live on Suzanne, but she was last seen on Mother's Day, May 10th of 2020. She supposedly went for a bike ride, what I think was a staged bike ride. Her bike was found a few miles from the house on a route that she normally took, and they found her helmet I think hours later. And then Barry was in this press conference and they had cameras and news people all out, and he's upset and please bring my wife back. And they're treating it like an abduction. And so, again, fake, phony. I never bought it for a second. And I'll show you guys this when we actually do our full story on Suzanne. This was from Court TV. Nobody's buying this either. So he was arrested in May of 2021 and then released a year later. Days before the trial, they dropped the charges against him. So Suzanne, it's like I said, it's not a cold case. It's still an open case, but there literally has been like zero. Every day I Google it, I look in the media, I try to find something more about it, but it's just nothing. I don't know what they're doing with it or what they're even able to do with it. So security, what do you got here for me, Sherry D? Oh, guard camera footage. Yeah, I'll get that. That shows him at the front desk and proves that he was absolutely there and did not go with Sam to the apartment. Security man footage. I'll get that too for next time. And if you think of anything, Sherry D, just send me go on Twitter or Facebook and send me or an email. You guys can, anybody, let me put my email down in the chat. Any of you have any leads because you've been following this case of Ellen Greenberg and you want to share anything with me, or if there's a question or if there's something that you want me to cover when we find out about the judge. Yeah, Barry, I'm not excited to cover this because I wish Suzanne was alive, but I'm excited because there are some real similarities to Barry and Sam. The fake interviews, the fake feigning fake sadness. It's very scary to me, though, that her two daughters have not once questioned their dad. They have supported him the whole way through and through. But again, what are the odds that a random person killed Ellen Greenberg? Zip. What are the odds that a random person killed a school teacher from Colorado? I think zip. Now, yeah, there's scary people roaming around the world, but you have to go back to the statistic that I share with you guys so often. 82% of women are murdered by someone they know. And of that, 62% are their husband or their fiance or their old boyfriend who they've had restraining orders with or against. So the statistics, the numbers, they don't lie. And they're not, a lot of people don't want to hear that because it's not emotional enough. It's not enough to bring you in, but numbers are important to investigators and to people trying to solve crimes, because it's the old 1 + 1 = 2 theory. The odds are that both these women were murdered by their fiance and their husband. That's my opinion, having experience and having gone to grad school with an excelling in domestic violence counseling and domestic violence research. So it's sad, it's terrible. But we will talk about this case soon, and I will show you the videos of Barry being just odd, and his behavior is odd. And it's just an incredibly sad, again, unsolved domestic violence murder, in my opinion. So I have notes of what I need to add for next time we meet about Ellen. If you guys are following the Suzanne Morphew case and you want to contact me, let me finish putting my email here for you. I don't have it on a streamer right now because I added all the other streamers from all the different cases we've been following. So I ran out of little streamers for the email. So I have it for you now. It's acttmsw@gmail.com. You can email me any questions, suggestions that you want me, any other cases that you are very interested in that nobody's really covering. We will look into them. We're happy to. We're not going to go past 10 though. Right now we have 7. So we're definitely not going past 10. And my praying to God every day that one of them finally gets more resolution. Sandra Birchmore, we've been covering her since August. What is taking so long? So I want to do another live on Sandra Birchmore, because that is a messed up situation. And I don't understand why. I think Mizzy, who's leading the troops there in Massachusetts, they're asking now, what's the stall? Why is it taking so long to take this man to trial? And let's go, right? Let's go with the trial. And why has no one else been arrested? You cannot tell me that other people were not involved in this at a criminal level. So I don't understand what's going on in Massachusetts, right? We just don't know. There's so much nefarious behavior there. It's just crazy. So, well, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate that. Sherry, we had a small audience tonight, and that's okay. It's not always going to be that way. So some nights we get a big bunch of chatters and other nights we don't, but I hope on the replay, if you guys care about Ellen, that you'll share the hashtag Justice for Ellen Greenberg, and our hashtag for all of our victims and families that we're standing for is hashtag My Life Mattered. So please, if you could share those out anytime. Calling out corruption is our other hashtag for everything else that we're covering and doing. So please do that for me on social media. It helps us to get attention to the cases, and I will continue to have updates on all 7 that we are currently involved with, and especially the ones that I'm on the ground with, Ellen and Kara Veach, her husband Jason, and Michelle's sister, where is Sarah Ebersol. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you all so much. Oh, hi, Julie, craziest person. Thanks a lot. Happy to know that you'll watch on the replay. We covered a few more things that we didn't get to last week. And then I had a little moment where I had to address the YouTube, address the harassment. So no names were mentioned, but I had to. So you get a kick out of that, Julie. You're gonna like that. It'll be a happy moment for you. It's yes, Sherry D. It's great replay content tonight. It was me, Sherry D, and Paula. We were on it. So we are standing for Ellen Greenberg. We will continue to stand for her and everyone else that we are following right now. And justice will be had, because good wins out. Good always wins out over evil. Truth wins out over lies. And good people find each other. Good people always find each other. So thank you for being here tonight, Sherry D and Paul in the chat. Thanks for popping in, Julie, craziest person. And I'll be back tomorrow night. I hope whoever makes it for Friday Night Lies, might just be me, but I'll go over the testimony of Julie Elbert tomorrow night and call her out for, let's put up the Fockery disclaimer in honor of what a great interview and time we had with James Jackson. James, if you ever watch this, thank you so much. Let's put up the Factory disclaimer in honor of JFK and James, because we know that whole donut shenanigans was a bunch of crap. Okay. I don't buy it for a second. Now, sure, some people have, we do things like that. My son likes to go to the Cheesecake Factory. My youngest son, we go to the Cheesecake Factory. My oldest son likes fish. We do fish. But that morning in a blizzard, I don't buy it. Plus, I also believe Julie talked to her sister earlier. I think Julie already knew what was going on, and that John O'Keefe had been in the yard and taken away in an ambulance. She knew all that. So don't tell me rushing over there to have a family meeting, you're still going to take time to buy donuts that you're planning to leave in a car. No. And she never mentioned coffee. Remember this, when we do Friday Night Lies with Brian Albert, Julie never mentioned coffee, but Brian did. So there were little slip-ups in their story that they all got together to tell. What you're going to say this, you're going to say that. And a lot of people say that's horse crap. There's no way they orchestrated all that. I say, yes, they did. They knew their lives were all on the line. They knew they effed up. And I say they did orchestrate all that, because it's too many lies, too many evasive behaviors, evasive testimony. And so we'll have the Factory disclaimer up all tomorrow night during Friday Night Lives for sure. Great. Thank you so much, Sherry D. I appreciate you so much. And yes, they were so good last night. It was really great to meet James, and it was a great interview. And I had no clue JFK was in the chat. So that kind of stunned me when somebody said JFK's in the chat. I'm like, what? I didn't think he came, but thank you to both of them. They're great. I hope you guys watch their show too. They have a great show. So I'm going to get out of here. I need to do some self-care and some knee stretching and ice stretching. And I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for caring for our victims and their families. And we're going to keep doing that. That's what we're going to keep doing. And we're going to find more victims and more families that we can stand for and help hopefully solve their cases if we can. My sister sent me a really great book today on how to solve cold cases. There's an entire group of people that are working together to solve cold cases. Now, I've never looked into cold cases. Those can be maddening. All 7 cases we have are either open, or in Ellen's case has been continually pushed to be open and has been in the media. But there are so many cold cases out there that no one even knows exist and that have got no attention. And this group of individuals is solving some of them. So I will read that book and I will share that with you at some point in time if you're interested. And so let's see here. February 10th report, Chris and Julie stated they went to 34 February. Oh yeah. Okay. I'll write that down. I'll write that down to talk about tomorrow night. Yes. James was so sweet. What a kind soul. Like, he has the kindest soul. I hope he gets to see his child soon. I hope that this person that he was with, the mother of the child, doesn't keep the child from him. He looks like he would, just a kind soul. And I'm sure there's history there with those two and the courts, obviously, but he seems like he really deserves and wants to be with his child as much as he can. And I really hope the best for him and hope that he does. Julie says that whole testimony was a huge red flag, telling the court record she knew John was dead. Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be interesting. I just came up with this idea because I'm a football fan and I love Friday Night Lights, and football's over. So I thought, well, what can I do on Friday night? So I can't go to high school football games. There's no more college football on. I know, let's cross off the lights and let's do Friday Night Lies and go over all the lies in the Karen Reed case, because there's so many. And I need to make sure we got our count right now of how many lies we're up to, because we did Katie the first week and we did Chris. So I want to say we're up to like 12 or 13 between the two of them, but it might be more. I'll have to look at my sheet. But anyway, thanks for popping in, Julie. Thank you again, Sherry D and Paula. And thanks to the replay crew. I appreciate all of you. Have a great rest of your night. And we'll see you tomorrow night for Friday Night Lies. Take care, everyone. I'm going to take us out with our music tonight.
They try to silence the truth we shout, but we're still here, we're still calling out. Corruption hides behind a badge and name. We light the fire, expose the shame. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. The stories echo, the pain runs deep. For stolen lives we can't just weep. Elected power, but their hearts are cold. We'll bring the truth, let it be told. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight. The heavy wounds, undo the harm. Calling out corruption, we'll stand tall. For justice and truth, we'll risk it all.